subscribe, like, do what you want, really. And we are back with quarterfinal number 3 in the championship tournament to crown the very best action figure belt ever made. On the left-hand side of your screen, we have the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship by Reggie Parks and indeed by Mattel. And on the right-hand side of your screen, the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, also by Mattel. Now, we've ranked these 8 contenders by a seeding system that looks at the likeness to the real belt itself, the build of the toy, and the feels that it gives me. On the left-hand side of your screen, number 3 seed, the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship scored 8 points for its likeness to the real belt, only lacking the championship plate on the right hand side as you look at it, and the gold tip. No belts seem to do the championship plate other than WWE Undisputed Championships. I think they tend to have the property of plate, but in general, we don't see that. But it did hamper the tag title a little bit, scoring 8 out of 10. It got 8 out of 10 for build. It's a very, very well-built belt by Mattel. And then 8 out of 10 for all those nostalgic feels. On the right-hand side of your screen, WWE Cruiserweight Championship scored, again, 8 out of 10 for its likeness to the real belt. It's lacking purple on the side plates, and also there's no tip. 9 out of 10 for build. Really, really well-made championship, particularly with all the kind of tooling and detail on that purple strap. And 6 out of 10 for the feels. Not quite as nostalgic, although that Cruiserweight Classic is a much longer time ago than I would like to admit. So let's talk number 3 seed WWF Tag Team Championship on the left-hand side of your screen. We're going to look at first champions to hold the belt, last champions to hold the belt, and then notable champions in between. Now, difficult chronology for the tag team titles. I think approximately this version on the left came in about 1985 with the Dream Team. It was certainly in existence by the time the British Bulldogs won the titles after them, and I do have pictures of the Dream Team carrying this version of the championships, but not the US Express. I'm going to plump for about 1985. If you know better, stick it in the comments. I'd love to know. But of course, that original version did not have these side plates. It had the square side plates with the odd light black stars, quite dark side plates, to be fair. Very, very square. They were eventually replaced by the ones you see before you in about the 90s. And the original belt was dual plated. It was a mixture of silver and gold, in inverted commas. But then it went all gold in the 90s by the time the likes of the Natural Disasters were holding that championship. Anything else to see there? No, that's pretty much it for the design. How about the last champions? Again, difficult because this belt was slightly reversioned in the late 90s into an Attitude Era version where the bottom of the belt here was much more kind of pointy and angular. The text changed slightly. The whole belt was kind of squished to the sides and up, became kind of taller and a little bit thinner there. So I can't really put a particular date on that. Again, if you know, stick it down in the comments because I was looking at pictures of the champions in the late 90s and most of them were holding this version of the championship belt. Notable champions in between those times then, well, I've already mentioned the British Bulldogs, but let's talk Hart Foundation, Demolition, individual great champions like Owen Hart, Shawn Michaels with various folks, Steve Austin in various odd folks tag team combinations, New Age Outlaws, a really, really great who's who of great tag team wrestling at that time. Let's talk then WWE Cruiserweight Championship on the right-hand side of your screen. 8, 9, and 6 scored very, very well, but let's talk its first champion. Well, this iteration of the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, which of course had its own lineage, it didn't hark back to the WWE version of the WCW version. It was its own thing. The Cruiserweight Classic won by T.J. Perkins in September 2016, and he also got himself a fancy little medal, if you remember. That was nice. The last champion to hold this was it was renamed, wasn't it, in 2019 as the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. So it kind of had a rebrand that got rid of the current branding. The strap went black, NXT went on it. and then it survived for a little bit longer before being merged. And who are your notable champions? Well, one of my personal favourites, the Brian Kendrick, Neville, also known as Pac nowadays. And you might think it's a slight surprise, a little bit left field, a little bit out there, Drew Gulak. Got a lot of time for Drew Gulak's work. So, what's it going to be? Well, WWF Tag Team title scored 24 out of 30. The Cruiserweight title scored 23 out of 30. Not much in it in terms of likeness to the real belt, build, and feels. But I guess, again, the day has to go to the belt with the lineage. And I know that's slightly unfair on the Cruiserweight Championship because it's not his fault that it only existed for a handful of years compared to the belt on the left-hand side of your screen. But perhaps no surprise at all that seed number 3, the WWF Tag Team Championship, is going to live on. The Cruiserweight is going to go away, and we are just going to bask in the glory of this version of the championship belt. Just catching a bit too much light there. Let's turn that around. And that is it for quarterfinal number 3. Join us next time for quarterfinal number 4. And then we have our final 4 heading into the semi-finals of the championship tournament to crown the greatest action figure belt ever made. Until next time, take care. Ta-ra now.